Appeasing the Camera God. I hopped off the bus, looking forward to dropping in at the art gallery on my way home. I'm a small-town boy, and the big city offered me options of museums, galleries, and concerts that I had not had access to before. So this was a minor thrill for me to discover this small art gallery near my apartment. Not the best in the city, but I could walk in freely, look at colors, shapes, textures, and try to decipher what they meant. I'd been so intimidated the first time, but everything gets easier with practice. And now I felt comfortable and confident in the milieu, even if my knowledge wasn't much more. It was a process, and I was embracing it, the hell with the mockers. So I adjusted my backpack and slipped into the gallery. And immediately, I was confronted with a towering familiarity. I'd attended at least 10-15 shows here, but I'd never felt this gut-level familiarity. I felt I knew those birds, trees, dogs, those shops, those streets, the people that filled them, what they were talking about and what business they were going about. It was amazing and disorienting. This must be somebody who knew the area I'd grown up in. This artist had caught the mood, the ambience of my hometown unerringly. I felt wave upon wave of nostalgia as I walked slowly around the gallery, stopping at each work, letting myself feel past what I merely saw. There were small charcoal sketches and larger works in watercolor or acrylic. There was a large work at one end of the gallery, which seemed to be the centerpiece of the show, as there was a small gathering around it and a bit of a buzz. I determined to leave it till last, so I averted my eyes and went past it to view the rest of the show. I thought the artist had some ability with watercolor, or perhaps the soft mistiness of the genre just gelled well with my tender memories of home. I was choked up. I'd never felt so moved by art before. Finally, I drifted towards the large work. It was 5 horizontal panels mounted one upon the other, going from charcoal to watercolor and increasingly emphatic as the eye rose. But I wasn't really looking at the art, only the subject, and my knees were buckling almost. I actually had to pause and pull myself together. I must have been about 8 or 9 years old when a group of older girls from some other school, not in our town, visited our town with an NGO. I don't remember the details, but they were on some kind of press training project. Some of them had notebooks and made notes as they interviewed people. Some were using their cell phones as recorders. Some used their cell phone cameras, taking pictures of people and things. There was a festival mood in the town that day. They only approached ordinary people in the street, not anyone in authority. No bank managers or politicians or big farmland owners, but assistants in cloth shops, tea sellers and their customers, housewives hurrying home with the vegetables for the day's meals. And no school headmasters, but us kids, all jostling and eager to get ourselves recorded. They asked us to show them our special skills, and we outdid each other to climb trees, turn somersaults, and walk on our hands. I tugged the skirt of one of the camera girls and offered to show her a snake in a hole under a tree. I thought that would be different and might get me some attention, and I was right. We slunk away from the group, and I took her to a tree under which I knew there was a snake. She was evidently nervous, so I strutted around a bit, pretending a confidence I didn't have. I advised her where she could lie down in the mud and be safe while still getting a good shot. I was scriptwriter, producer, artistic director, cast selector, and protagonist of the show all in one. I found myself a stick and poked at the snake hole from a safe distance. Lots of poking, no result. I worried that the snake wasn't home, though it usually was during the day. So I changed tack and got myself 2 flat stones to clash together rhythmically with a steady beat as I hummed loudly. And soon I saw it poking its massive head out of the hole. I chucked aside the stones, needing to be hands-free, but kept up the humming and the beat with my hands smacking the dry ground. "Are you getting this?" I asked the girl, even though I could hear her phone clicking. She advised me to carry on what I was doing and leave her to do her job. Was it a poisonous snake? She wanted to know. And though I had no clue, I assured her it wasn't, but that it would still strike since I had agitated it. I hoped this was true, not being any kind of an expert on snakes. We usually ran screaming from them. The snake swayed slowly from side to side, its flattened head now a good 1.5 feet off the ground and its body completely outside the hole. I stopped beating on the ground because I was horribly nervous myself. But in the presence of that camera and the girl, I couldn't flee. I wiggled backwards, still humming, watching the snake cautiously. I was hoping I was outside striking distance, though with the snake, you could never really tell. I prayed that if I actually got bitten, I'd somehow survive. I hadn't thought all this through very clearly. For all my bravado, that was the first time I'd ever done anything so foolhardy. But the rapacious camera god had needed to be appeased, you see. I reached out with one hand and thumped the ground, continuing to hum, until some sixth sense compelled me to pull back. As I drew back my hand, the snake lunged forward, plunging its fangs into the spot in the dust where my hand had just been. I scrambled to my feet and ran back, but the girl, unexpectedly bold, stayed there with her belly in the dust, clicking rapidly from the safety of the position I'd chosen for her. We romped back to the main street, both of us pumped on adrenaline and grinning our heads off. She thanked me for this fantastic experience and showed me a few shots on her phone, which scared the pants off me. Anyway, that had been the end of the story for me. Until this day. Those 5 wall-mounted panels documented my baby hands poking the stick into the hole under the tree, the snake jutting out its triangular head, then swaying as I thumped the ground in front of it, the simultaneous withdrawal of my hand and the snake's strike, and my hand safe in the air as it buried its fangs in the dirt. There could be not the slightest doubt. She'd used the photographs taken ages ago to create this fantastic paint story. And it was magnificent, bold and compelling, even if those weren't your own baby hands in the paintings. I was transfixed. The room had gone silent around me. That work absorbed all my senses. Ages later, I felt someone reach gently for my right hand and hold it ensconced in both of hers. "Become so big now, those hands," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "You took a massive risk that day, do you know? That was a king cobra, hugely venomous." "I had no idea," I muttered, almost to myself. I realized that only later, she replied, bobbing her head up and down. I assumed you knew. But as the elder person, I should have exercised more caution. We didn't even know each other's names, so there was a lot of catching up to do, including exchanging phone numbers. While strangers took pictures of us, it was awkward and embarrassing and weird. I need to go back and look at that piece again, without the excess of emotion I felt earlier, and talk to her some more, and take a few selfies, of course. After all, the camera god still needs to be appeased.